the campaign for human development needs to be cleaned up.
Amen.
And if it can't be cleaned up, it needs to be shut down. They had some votes. Of course, I don't go to the meetings now, but from what I understand, that was a topic. And I'll quote one of the bishops. I won't use his name, but he was bold enough to say, and I saw it quoted in an article, he was bold enough to say that some of the bishops were liars. And that's pretty strong.
That's, you think?
But he was strong enough to say that. And it was involved in the conversations, the debates they were having about how to handle this campaign for human development. It's another aspect of the corruption. And, bishops just need to be honest. If they don't believe that promoting contraception and promoting abortion, sometimes in Africa or foreign, I don't care where it is on the planet, but if they don't believe that's wrong, they need to just clearly say, I don't believe this. I don't believe what the church teaches. I mean, we've had, Archbishop Vigano excommunicated because of things that he said. Well, if that can happen, then the clarity needs to be there. Do we believe, as I said,
I remember
6 years ago,
Yep.
on the floor of the bishops' conference, and the question still hangs out there, very heavy. Do we believe or not? Do we believe what Jesus says in today's gospel that we talked about? That ultimately, to be part of the family of God is to do the will of the Father and not try to twist that according to our own will. Do we believe that? Too many in the highest ranking offices of the church, by their actions, by their fruit, you shall know them. Jesus says that too. And the fruit that we're seeing is, no, they don't believe. And they're upset that, there's no funding for sinful things.
Terrible.
How tragic is that? How corrupt is that? We've got to keep speaking. And, I am glad that the issues of the campaign for human development, I'm sure part of it was that it was financially a wreck.
Yes.
And so they had to address it.
Yeah.
But maybe that's God's way of saying, you can ignore my will for a while, but ultimately there will be a day of reckoning.
Yeah.
When you're treating people and teaching people false messages and disguised as charity,
Yeah.
disguised as human development, it's just wrong.
Yeah.
And it needs to be exposed. It needs to be cleaned up.
Yeah.
The Catholic faithful deserve a church leadership that they can trust and that they know when they give their hard-earned dollars, it's going to be used to promote Catholic faith and not to promote corrupt practices.
I'll just add one step further, and I've said this to some bishops. I won't use their names over the years, but when I've run into bishops who have compromised on the church teaching, I ask them, if you don't believe it, Bishop, do us a favor, step down. And I mean that. Now, I'm not in management, I'm in sales, but I said, I would be happy, I'd respect you even more.
We don't need confusion. We need the clarity that Jesus Christ brings. And what I keep repeating to people as they ask me, what are we supposed to do in this confusing time? Look to Christ.
Amen.
Look to what he did.
Amen.
Look to what he said.
Yes.
If he had been confusing, if he had talked about things like synodality, they very likely wouldn't have crucified him.
That's so
but
funny.
He was clear and spoke plainly and, stepped on toes of the leadership, the religious and the state leadership of his time was uncomfortable with him. And that discomfort reached the point where they said, we got to get rid of this Jesus of Nazareth. So Jesus wasn't and isn't confusing.
Yeah.
And so I applaud Cardinal Burke for making it very clear. And once again, here we are going through a hot summer, and more we're going to hear about this synod on synodality once again in October, all of October. To me, it's a waste of time. It's a waste of resources. And it's worse than that when it doesn't bring clarity, but brings more confusion. Seems to be where it's headed once again.